This morning, Dr. Progoff, we're privileged to discuss with you a question which has been raised in our class here at the Ministerial School at Unity. Specifically, the question deals with counseling, and inevitably the conversation works itself around to psychotherapy. And I know that you have been working in areas, and you have made statements such as beyond psychotherapy. Now, at this point in time, I would like to share with you your thinking on exactly what beyond psychotherapy means. So I would like now to ask you the question, exactly what do you mean by beyond psychotherapy?
Well, in the first place, the beyond is beyond analytical psychotherapy, in which the conception with which people work is that the person is ill, and that the illness is something in the nature of a physical illness, which a medical doctor would diagnose, and then having diagnosed it, he would look for a means of removing the cause so that he would have a specific treatment, and that would be the specific therapy. Now, my sense is that the nature of the treatment to help a human being in what are experienced as psychological difficulties is not really analogous to the problem, and therefore not analogous to the treatment for medical illnesses. And that therefore what we have to do is have a means of working that develops the person as a whole being, that reaches into the movement of the person's life as a whole in order to give him a perspective in which he can not only think of himself, but from which he can actually experience his life as moving and unfolding. Therefore, his life is not to be treated and be given a therapy in order to make it whole, but his life is to be opened out so that he will have capacity, and that would be a key word for me. The development of inner capacity is the basic answer to anxiety and depression and the main symptoms of what are called neuroses.
What I hear you say, Doctor, is that by making a person aware of their potentialities, that you're putting them in a position to deal with the problem that is being presented to them from the strengths of their potential, rather than dwelling on the problems of the moment, of the whatever the thing they're in therapy for. You're trying to build some muscle in their awareness of their own potential that they can deal with themselves. Is that what I'm hearing you say, or is that close?
Let me say it around in this way, that what I would be working with is the potential, in the sense that everything that has not yet happened is potential. And if I want to restate what you said, it would be because I would not want it to seem that I was putting the emphasis on what is so-called good or strengths in people. I actually am putting the emphasis on what is the total life possibility of a person, so that everything that is in a person's life is there for him to be worked with. The things that are painful, the things where he feels darkness or fear or inadequacy, they also are there. Nothing, really nothing is to be bypassed. Everything that is part of the nature of the human being is part of what his life growth is. The seed of the flower is planted in earth that is, from certain points of view, dirty. It's soil. And yet the flower grows through that. And the cycles of life require the low and dark part in order for the growth to take place. Now, that says to me that the person must come to a place where he can feel at home with everything that is part of his life experience. I take it even that if a person feels that he cannot talk about something, or he cannot let himself think about a particular subject, then he is unfree. That particular fear has him in bondage to it. He must be in a place where he can speak it. He can say, this is what is there. This is the fact. Now then, if everything then, in my view, is neutral, as the day is no better than the night, and the night is no better than the day, so the anxieties are no worse than the joys, and so on. Now then, it becomes important then to work in the continuity of a person's life, in order that a person can have an inner experience of the movement of his life forward in time. I say forward in time because I don't want to just say movement forward, in which case you might infer better and better. I don't mean better and better. I mean forward in time, in the way that the life process continues and moves through and does unfold what was potential, but may unfold it with great pain. And that is to say that everything that is part of the totality of life experience is in the individual's life. Now then, as a person's life is moving out, it moves through certain periods or phases, like the seasons of the year. And that means that in a person's life, he comes to times that are times of difficulty, which go together with, are part of the process by which new openings are going to take place. In other words, there are going to be deaths or endings and rebirths or beginnings again and again in the experience of a person. And what the way of working that I am involved in, it really focuses on, is giving a person an experience of the inner continuity of the seasons of his life.